Picture this: a gleaming office building in the heart of London, floor-to-ceiling windows, pristine reception, and employees quietly sipping their tea while typing emails with the efficiency of a Swiss watch. The calm, polite rhythm of British work culture is in full swing. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. Enter our protagonist, an American, impeccably dressed with a LinkedIn-ready handshake and an air of unshakable confidence. They stride in, armed with a resume that sparkles like a Hollywood agent's portfolio, fully convinced that the world owes them not just respect, but a substantial pay raise on their first day. At reception, they flash a smile and demand, "Is HR available to discuss my compensation package immediately?" The receptionist, trained in the subtle art of polite deflection, nods politely while thinking, "Bless them." Within minutes, word spreads. British employees, masters of understatement and dry humor, exchange glances and smirks. They know a cultural storm has arrived, wrapped in designer clothing and an unwavering sense of entitlement. As the American is ushered to their desk, confusion begins to mount. There are no welcome gift baskets with artisanal coffee, no personal assistant to take notes. Instead, there's a shared printer, a stack of TPS reports, and the quiet hum of people working efficiently without drama. The first realization hits. British workplaces do things differently. Way differently. Minutes turn into hours. The American opens their mouth to request not just a pay raise, but also a flexible schedule, personal office plants, and, naturally, a monthly team-building brunch at a Michelin-star restaurant. The manager, a calm and seasoned professional with the patience of a saint, smiles thinly. "We can review performance after the probation period," she says politely. The American blinks, as if the concept of waiting is an alien concept. Lunchtime arrives, and our protagonist attempts to socialize. "Do you guys do happy hour here?" "I have some equity options I could explain." The British employees exchange polite nods while secretly suppressing giggles. Here, humor is dry, understatement is an art, and over-the-top enthusiasm is, well, entertaining. The American doesn't notice. They are far too busy thinking about how their first-day brilliance is going unnoticed. As the afternoon unfolds, more cultural clashes emerge. Office etiquette is sacrosanct. You don't interrupt meetings, you queue for the printer, and you absolutely do not speak over the person presenting. The American, accustomed to speaking first and negotiating loudly, finds themselves politely corrected multiple times. Each correction, delivered with British courtesy, feels like a subtle defeat. Emails arrive, full of understated requests. "Would you mind reviewing this report when convenient?" To the American, this reads as a challenge. Surely, everyone should drop everything and marvel at their efficiency. Instead, they are met with calm professionalism. The message is clear. Entitlement has limits here. By mid-afternoon, our American decides it's time for the big moment, requesting that pay raise. They stride into the manager's office, fully prepared to negotiate like a Wall Street broker. The conversation begins with a mix of charm and insistence. "Given my skills and experience, I believe I'm entitled to a higher starting salary." The manager, polite but firm, responds, "We appreciate your enthusiasm, and as mentioned earlier, salary reviews are considered after the probation period. Until then, let's focus on settling in and learning the role." The American's jaw drops. Probation period? Settling in? These concepts are alien. Meanwhile, the manager maintains that calm, courteous British composure. Every word is carefully measured, every gesture understated. The clash of cultures is complete. Back at the desk, the American vents to colleagues, hoping for sympathy. But British colleagues are trained in subtle humor. One replies dryly, "Yes, we all start at the same place here." Surprising, isn't it? Another adds, "I'm sure it's an adjustment from home." The humor cuts deeper than any confrontation ever could. The entitlement is met with calm reason, the drama neutralized by politeness. As the day comes to a close, the American reflects. They may not have achieved the pay raise they expected, nor received immediate recognition for their brilliance, but something else has happened. They've glimpsed a world where respect isn't bought, entitlement isn't rewarded, and patience, professionalism, and subtle humor reign supreme. Walking out of the office, slightly deflated but perhaps a little wiser, they realize that surviving a British workplace requires more than confidence and credentials. It requires humility, adaptability, and most importantly, an appreciation for the understated ways in which the British run their offices. And for the viewers at home, the takeaway is clear. Entitlement can clash spectacularly with culture. Watching it unfold, with British calm meeting American audacity, is not just entertaining. It's a lesson in patience, perspective, and the subtle art of workplace etiquette. After surviving their chaotic first day, our entitled American employee returns for week 2 at the London office, convinced that a pay raise or at least hero status is just around the corner. Spoiler alert, Britain has other plans. Monday morning arrives. The American struts into the office, coffee in hand, ready to conquer the world, or at least the weekly spreadsheet. Immediately, they encounter the first obstacle, British punctuality. Arriving 2 minutes late earns polite but pointed looks from colleagues who murmur dryly, "Ah, fashionably late, I see." The American, unused to subtle social correction, frowns. In America, they would have been applauded for showing up in style. By mid-morning, they attempt to assert dominance in the weekly team meeting. I've already drafted a few improvements to the workflow, and I think we should discuss bonus structures. The British manager, calm as ever, nods politely and says, "Thank you for your suggestions. Let's first ensure everyone is familiar with our existing processes." The American is taken aback. Existing processes? Surely efficiency and innovation should be rewarded immediately. Meanwhile, their colleagues exchange knowing smirks, subtly amused by the relentless ambition. At lunchtime, the chaos continues. The American decides to impress with a homemade avocado toast, brought from home naturally, only to discover that the British cafeteria offers perfectly reasonable meals and, more importantly, queues are sacred. Attempting to skip the line earns a polite yet firm, "Excuse me, the queue starts there." This becomes a recurring theme, the collision of entitlement with quiet British rules. The highlight of the week comes mid-week during the first team project. The American insists on taking charge, assigning tasks to colleagues who've been doing this job for years. "I'll handle the most important parts. You all follow my lead," they announce. British colleagues, masters of dry wit, respond with understated brilliance. One mutters under their breath, "Yes, let's all follow the tourist guide." Another quietly adjusts the project timeline without comment, effectively nullifying the American's leadership. By the end of the meeting, our protagonist is left wondering why their brilliance isn't universally recognized. Thursday brings a team-building exercise, a guided tour of the office workflow, complete with explanations of protocols and traditions. The American struggles to grasp the importance of subtle cues, understated emails, and polite disagreement. Every time they attempt to speed things up, they are met with patient smiles, polite corrections, and, occasionally, the subtle humor of colleagues whispering, "They'll learn eventually." By Friday, the American has had enough. They decide it's time to escalate their campaign for recognition, and possibly a pay raise. In a dramatic gesture, they submit a detailed 15-page report titled "Optimizing Office Performance, a Revolutionary Approach by yours truly." The report is thorough, colorful, and packed with suggestions ranging from weekly performance bonuses to installing espresso machines on every desk. The British manager reviews the report, then leans back and says, "Thank you for this. We'll consider some of your ideas for the next fiscal quarter." The American's jaw drops. Consider? They think. In America, consider often translates to instant approval. Here, it translates to, "We're polite, but we do things differently." As the first week ends, our American employee begins to understand a few key lessons. You cannot demand respect. It is earned. Enthusiasm is admirable, but subtlety is king. Quiz, etiquette, and tradition are non-negotiable. And patience, British patience, is a superpower. Walking out of the office on Friday evening, slightly humbled but still full of energy, they reflect, maybe a pay raise isn't imminent, but surviving a week in a British workplace deserves recognition in itself. And perhaps, just perhaps, learning the rules before trying to rewrite them might be the smartest strategy.